Hello everyone, welcome to another learning time with Miss Blessing. In today's lesson, we're going to discover how to use comma to add details to a sentence. We know there are several ways we could add more information to a sentence. Today we're going to be seeing how we can use comma to do that as well. But before we go on, how can we add details to sentences? Do you remember those other ways we could add more information to a sentence? Pause the video and have a go. Welcome back. Did you think of adjectives? Did you think of adverbs? These are two other ways we can also add information to a sentence. And then what we are learning today, commas for subordinate phrases and clauses. What are adjectives? Adjectives are types of words that add detail to noun. It gives us more information about the noun in a sentence. It describes a noun. An adjective describes a noun. It gives us more information about the noun. Let's look at an example. I went to the beautiful house. The word beautiful is an adjective. Why? Because it's describing the noun house. So this is our adjective and this is our noun. The adjective describes the noun in the sentence. I went to a beautiful house. Let's look at some other examples. I ran into the garden with my dog. How can we use adjectives to increase the level of information in this sentence? We could say, I ran into the beautiful garden with my big dog. As you can see, I have included adjective to describe the garden and another one describing the dog. Instead of just writing I ran into the garden with my dog, I could write I ran into the beautiful garden with my big dog. This has given us more information about the garden and about the dog. The garden and the dog are nouns because they are name of a place and an animal. Now, what is an adverb? Adverbs are a type of word that gives us more information about verbs in a sentence. For example, I quickly ran to the house. While adjectives gives us more information about nouns, adverbs gives us more information about verbs. So we need to find the verb in the sentence and then look for words to describe the verb. Example, we could simply have said, I ran to the house. But adding an adverb, we discover how the boy ran to the house. He didn't run slowly, he ran quickly to the house. So adverb gives us more information about verbs. Let's look at some more examples. Johnny ran into the large kitchen and screamed. How can we use adverbs to increase the level of information in this sentence? Pause the video and have a go. Welcome back. How did you get on? Let's see. Johnny ran into the large kitchen and screamed loudly. He didn't scream quietly, he screamed loudly. So the adjectives tells us how Johnny screamed. Screamed is the verb. It tells us what John did. And the adverb tells us how he did it. So he screamed loudly, not quietly. Now let's look at how we can use commas to add details to a sentence. We know that we can use commas for separating items in a list. Example, Mom bought some oranges, a comma, apples, another comma, cashew nuts, another comma, grapes, and bananas. As you can see, we have used commas to separate these items in a list. However, today we are going to use commas to add detail to sentences. But before we do that, let's recap quickly the meaning of the following terms: phrase, clause, main clause, subordinate clause or phrase. If you've watched my video on subordinate clause, you would know the meaning of these three words because I explained them in detail. Now, let's recap the meaning of these words. Phrase: a sentence that doesn't make sense on its own. It doesn't have a verb in it. It cannot stand on its own. My box. Somebody walks into the room and just says, my box. You'll be wondering, your box, what happened to your box? What type of box is it? The person has not given an additional information. That is a phrase, my box. It doesn't have a verb in it. Now, clause: a sentence that makes sense on its own, e.g., I ate apples. This information is complete as I know what you did, I know you ate, and I also know what you ate. I know you ate apples. You didn't eat pie, you didn't eat chicken or any other thing but apples. A clause has a verb in it. Main clause: there are two types of clauses, main and subordinate clause. The main clause is the most important part of the sentence. It can stand on its own and make sense on its own, while the second part, which is the subordinate clause or phrase, is the part that gives us more information about the main clause. The subordinate clause also has a verb in it. If it is a phrase, it doesn't have a verb in it. Remember, phrases do not have verbs in them, okay? But clauses, main and subordinate, usually has verbs in them. So now we have known the meaning of this. Let's look at our examples of how we can use comma to increase detail. Ben walked down the street. This is a sentence. It makes sense on its own. If we add detail to it using comma, we might write, Ben, comma, the young man, comma, walked down the street. The part added is called the subordinate phrase. Ben walked down the street is a clause. It's a main sentence. It makes sense on its own. Now, we've used comma to add additional information to this sentence by adding the young man. As you can see, the main clause started here, Ben, and ends here, walked down the street. But we've added a subordinate phrase, the young man. It's a subordinate phrase because there is no verb in it, the young man, and it cannot stand on its own. So we use comma to add this information in the sentence. Let's look at example 2. The man tripped over a rock. This is a sentence. It also makes sense on its own. It is a clause. It has a verb in it. Tripped is our verb. If we add detail to it using commas, we might write, the man, not looking where he was going, tripped over a rock. So the part added is the subordinate clause because the part we added now says not looking where he was going. Not looking where he was going is our subordinate clause, which we included in our main clause. The man tripped over a rock. But using comma, we have been able to include a subordinate clause which gives us more information as to why the man tripped over a rock. Let's look at example 3. The girl couldn't reach the shelf. This is the main sentence. It makes sense on its own. It is a clause. It is a main clause. It has a verb in it. If we include more information, we might write, the girl, who is very short, couldn't reach the shelf. Where should the commas go? I want you to pause the video and have a go at this one. Where should we put the commas in this sentence, and which part is the subordinate clause? To give you a clue, read the first sentence again. The girl couldn't reach the shelf. Now, what has been included in this sentence, and what is that subordinate part? Pause the video and have a go. Welcome back. Hope you got it correctly. Let's do this together. The girl, comma, here. Our comma comes here. The girl, comma, who is very short, comma, couldn't reach the shelf. As you can see, our main clause started here, the girl, and ends here, couldn't reach the shelf. Now we have an additional information. Who is very short? This is a subordinate clause. It has a verb in it. The girl who is very short couldn't reach the chef. Was this what you did? Well done if you did that. Now here is some for you to have more and go. See if you can make up some sentences using the following group of words. Remember the commas. We have Jerry, we have Mr. Bull, we have Bunny. Now these are your clauses to use in completing the sentences. Okay, the year 5 teacher built the house, the builder delivered my letter, the postman marked the homework. So you're supposed to arrange the sentences to make a complete sense, choosing items from different boxes. Pause the video and have a go, and don't forget to include your comma. Welcome back. How did you get on? Let's see how you went. So we have Mr. Bull, comma, the year 5 teacher, comma, marked the homework. Did you get this correctly? Well done if you did. Jerry, comma, the postman, comma, delivered my letter. And then finally, Bunny, the builder, built the house. If you got all this correctly, a big well done to you. I bet you're confident with today's lesson and you have learned a lot. You can rewatch the video for proper understanding. Please like, subscribe and share for more videos. And this is me saying bye for now. See you in the next video.